Hey, it's GamerK and welcome to this review of episode 4 of season 7 of Game of Thrones. It was definitely the best episode we have got this entire season, so I can't wait to break this down with you, go through all the different scenes and all the awesome stuff we got in this episode. Let's go. So we begin with the Iron Bank foaming up over Cersei's promise of gold, and hooking up a deal to ensure that they can keep getting their monthly fix. Then, out of nowhere, Cersei name drops the Golden Company. And so for all those show fans who don't know why their book reader friends were all having sieges, let's talk about the Golden Company. TLDR Golden Company. Sellsword companies are groups of sellswords who offer their fighting skills at a price to free cities, merchants, and kingdoms to help them fight in wars, defend their cities, and raid enemy territory. The most expensive and largest of these companies is the Golden Company, with about 10,000 men. This company has been heavily tied to Westeros, as it was founded by a Targaryen bastard who lost a civil war and fled his remaining army to Essos, where they formed the company. Unlike some companies, the Golden Company is well trained and organized and are known to never break a contract, where other companies would flee at the first sight of defeat. This reputation makes them a lot more premium compared to other sellsword companies, and why Cersei definitely wants them. Over its history, the Golden Company has also fought in many rebellions trying to overthrow the Targaryens, so it's not surprising that they're going to fight in Westeros yet again. So yes, it is quite likely the Golden Company will be introduced in the show and give Cersei either another tool to beat Dany's ass with, or they're part of a huge ass theory people are talking about at the moment, where they do a huge 180 on everyone, portray Cersei, join Dany, and sack King's Landing when they're let in by Cersei. There's a lot more evidence and stuff with this theory. If you want me to cover it in a separate video, then make sure to tell me in the comment section below. So next we'll begin with Littlefinger trying to weave his fingers into Bran, seeing him as a new potential person he could have an ally, someone he could use to try and have a blocker between him and Jon, someone he could probably prop up to be the Lord of Winterfell. Sadly for him, he didn't know that Bran's a retard now. He's the three-eyed raven who sees everything. But seriously, I was quite disappointed that Bran didn't have like a trigger when he saw the blade and it kind of like popped to a memory or a vision of who gave that blade to the cutthroat in the first place, revealing that big mystery. But I understand the show can't just give away every secret with Bran. Other than that, the funniest moment of the scene had to be when Littlefinger was talking and he interrupted him with, "Chaos is a ladder." Watching Littlefinger's face dissolve as his mind spins in circles like, how did he know that? Did he hear me? Was Sansa talking about it? So many weird things have happened to him in the north. He's found out about the White Walkers and Army of Dead, Jon being brought back to life after he died, Bran now sees visions and can tell the future and stuff, and then Arya shows up. Now, I did enjoy how this scene was a comparison to what we got in season 1 with Arya, when she ran away from the Red Keeps and he came back and the Gold Ghost is like, "You don't live here," and she's like, "Yes I do." So it appears that Arya, like many of the other Starks, have gone through a full circle loop. They went south, they suffered so many tragedies, they've evolved as a character, they've gone through this really important arc, and now they've come back to Winterfell. And together they're going to have to face the new challenges ahead. Sansa is definitely going to be the main person to try and struggle with this new dynamic of the family. She's gone through this like most sheltered storyline. Apart from when she was randomly sold by Littlefinger to Ramsay, which she consented to for some fucking random reason, which made no sense whatsoever, she had a pretty decent storyline all the way through. The worst abuse she got was getting stripped. Sure, Joffrey was an absolute menace, but compared to all of the common folk and other characters of the show, she has had a very, very easy life. But definitely the highlight had to be the reunion between Bran and Arya. Like, they actually got along a lot better than Sansa and Bran did. Arya was a little confused at first, but she's been through so many magical shit and random stuff that she can understand the cold, unfeeling side of Bran and the journey he's gone through. So now we move to some filler between Jon and Dany, and they're totally not sexual tension in the cave. And of course we get to see all these cool cave paintings with a whole bunch of symbolism of the children in the forest and stuff we've seen beforehand. But something I thought was really strange was how like all the paintings and stuff were just basic, simple kind of like stick figures and circles and spirals. And then the White Walkers like this detailed, like blue-eyed, didn't know they had blue-colored rocks they'd chuck in there. Next we see Jon and Davos talking about Daenerys, what they think about them. Jon's admitting that, hey, I'll tap that ass, but don't have time for it. We also see Davos is still on the grind to get that ass himself, but if he wants to compete with Grey Worm, then he's definitely going to have to get Jon Snow to teach him a few tricks. And then we see Theon rock up, and I was surprised Jon didn't just give him a few gut shots for good measure. It will be really interesting to see what happens with Jon, Theon, and the dynamic with Yara. With Daenerys gone out to go fight with Dothraki and her dragons and stuff, I'm not sure if the Theon story will be put on hold until she gets back, or Jon Snow and him will have to work out a plan to do a heist or do some kind of rebuttal attack by themselves, and whether he will be keen for that or not, I don't know. But that could be something we can look forward to later on in the season. And last but not least, we move to the epic baggage train heist attack awesome Dragonfire Dothraki fight. This shit was so insane. The production value was way up there with everything we've seen from like the Battle of the Baskets and so much more. We had Jaime, we had Dany on different sides, and we finally got people who've been watching our entire time on Game of Thrones. People that many different viewers have been constantly supporting throughout their entire journeys. People we didn't want anyone to win or lose too much. We didn't want Jaime to die. We didn't want Dany to die. We didn't want Dany to lose. We didn't want Jaime to lose. It was just such a hard place for the viewer to be. It was definitely an example of a show pushing their huge ass theme of war is never helpful, and war destroys people's lives, destroys food shortages, kills people, burns people alive, and how innocents can die. And it was truly reflected in the way that Tyrion saw the entire battle. Men and people he considered his subjects, people who were his supporters, his family, his Westerlands people, were getting burned and killed left and right, even though they had no real stake in this fight. We saw Jaime, his brother, who he still kind of definitely loves, out between him and Dany. He didn't want Jaime to die. He was conflicted because he serves Daenerys, but Jaime is his brother. And no matter the conflict in their family, he still holds that bond extremely high. So all round, this scene was amazing. We got amazing development with Bronn, way more action and stuff. I have missed that character so much. He's so awesome. We got awesome dragon action and fire. We got the Dothraki finally in the field, and Dany actually winning something. Now the question will become whether this victory gets to Dany's head and she becomes a more aggressive and conquering, killing kind of force because you know it will work and that's the only way she thinks she can win the throne. And whether that will make her a character that someone like Tyrion or Varys may think of undermining or trying to sway or maybe betraying. More on that later. So whether it was the Lord of the Rings imagery, the awesome fighting and effects, or the really complex position to put the viewer and the characters in, this scene was amazing. Definitely the best of the season, and definitely up there with the top scenes all across the entire series. So that was Episode 4 of Season 7 of Game of Thrones. How will this change Jaime? What will Dany do next? What does this show us about dragons? And so much more will be answered in the next episodes and stuff. So stay tuned for my preview breakdowns, reviews, and other videos on Game of Thrones over the next 3 to 4 weeks. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our awesome community.